There are millions of pieces of content being uploaded to the internet every minute. This can make it so challenging for companies to come up with blog post ideas that not only answer the right questions, but also stand out amongst the crowd. Businesses look to articles hoping to find something they can use in blog posts, or they research trends within their industry and then try to curate their own content in a better or different way. But the reality is, if you don't put the time and effort into creating a solid foundation and strategy for coming up with blog post ideas, your content will fall short of what we consider epic. Hi, I'm Ron from ContentPros.io, and I'm here today to tell you the best ways to come up with epic blog post ideas using our 3 pillars. The first pillar, make sure that you have all your foundational bases covered. The second, create a framework for eliminating bad ideas. And third, ask yourself questions that will assist you in the brainstorming process. Now, the main takeaway from this video is that in order to create truly valuable content, you have to take the time to come up with a strategy and framework that guides your blog post ideation process through creative and unique avenues. You want to have a real impact on your customers, your internal team, and your content creation goals. So let's get started. So let's start with pillar number 1. Make sure you have all your foundational bases covered. This means you need to have a solid understanding of how to create a foundational blog post strategy. Strategy is the foundation of blog ideation because it's what guides your content in a meaningful, engaging, and sustainable direction that attracts your target audience. A solid content strategy makes the entire content creation process easier and more streamlined. According to the Content Marketing Institute, 36% of companies with a documented content strategy indicate that their content marketing is very effective or extremely effective. HubSpot created a really impactful article on how to create a successful blog strategy. Now, they suggest asking yourself questions like, why does your blog even exist? Who are your ideal customers? Which of your competitors have blogs? Which keywords are you targeting? And this speaks directly to SEO, which I'll talk about a bit later. But here's a pro tip. Content is the most important piece, and SEO always follows. And 5, which metrics matter to you? Here's an extra tip. Content marketing is a long-term and organic growth strategy. It takes time, but you will eventually see results. Set goals for yourself and allow room for growth. The first pillar takes time and effort, but it will make the entire blog post ideation process faster and more efficient. This brings us to pillar number 2. Create a framework for eliminating bad blog post ideas. Charlie Munger, the famed partner of Warren Buffett, created a framework and mental model that he used to determine whether or not he should make an investment. Munger created a list of questions that both he and Buffett had to answer yes to every time before making an investment. The results? Well, let's just say that Munger has a net worth of $1.6 billion. Not too bad. So we decided to mirror this same framework, which has actually kept us from chasing trendy or shallow ideas for blog topics. This framework basically says, before moving forward with a blog post idea, we have to say yes to 4 main questions. So let's go ahead and walk through these questions so you can see how we apply them to this very blog post or video. Number 1, will this blog post immediately be beneficial to our customers and prospects? Yeah, absolutely. Our customers and prospects often ask us how they can come up with blog post ideas on their own. Number 2, we ask ourselves, will this blog post immediately be beneficial to our internal team members? Absolutely. This blog post will now be a point of reference to use for their own knowledge as well as share with others, such as customers, other colleagues, etc. Number 3, will this blog post be written on a topic that contains enough valuable information to where it could be packaged into something like a course someone would actually pay for? Well, the answer to this one is yes. This topic is just scratching the surface on how to come up with epic blog post ideas. Additionally, there's a lot of demand for people needing assistance with developing ideas for blogs. So, for example, maybe we downsell this resource so a customer can develop their own blog post as opposed to using our services to do it. And finally, number 4, will this blog post be evergreen? Meaning, will it be relevant for our audience for years to come? Most definitely. The principles that we're laying out in this blog post or in this video would have been useful 100 years ago and will still be useful 100 years from now. So the short and sweet takeaway from pillar number 2 is that your framework should help guide you towards saying yes to blog post ideas that add value and no to blog post ideas that fall short. Now we come to the third and final pillar, brainstorming questions. Ask yourself questions that will assist you in the brainstorming process. We use 3 questions that are to act as resources for where we can find valuable and relevant information to spark blog post ideas. And now we're going to show you how we use these brainstorming questions to find the inspiration for this very video. So the first question, what is the most frequently asked question from your current customers? Well, the number 1 question is, can you guys help us with some ideas for new blog topics? And while we do offer some assistance in this regard, we believe that the overall blog post strategy and ideation process is best handled in-house. Second question, what is the most frequently asked question from your prospective customers? Well, coincidentally, our prospects also ask the question, can you help us come up with some new ideas for blog topics? Well, again, since we don't directly assist in ideation for our customers, it's important that we offer a resource for prospects that can help them in this regard, which will ultimately lead to more opportunities for us. Always remember that your blog post doesn't solely exist to help in generating organic traffic to your website. Epic Blog Post can offer direct assistance to your sales team in closing sales. Just take a look at the FAQ section on our homepage and notice how a lot of those questions can be used to create in-depth blog posts. Using ourselves as an example, here's how we draw inspiration from our FAQs with some blog post ideas. An example FAQ is, what is the difference between you guys and hiring a writer from Upwork, Fiverr, etc.? The blog post could be agencies versus freelancers, a guide to outsourcing your content creation. Or, how long will it take to see results? The blog post could be, how content should have an immediate impact on your business. Another FAQ, how does your process with revisions work? The blog post, the ultimate revision checklist. And finally, the third question, what does your team need to know in order to enhance your product or service offering in some way? The reason we wrote this post was not only to benefit our customers and prospective customers, but also to benefit our internal team because they too can learn from it. For example, if our writers and editors are all familiar with the process of how to create epic blog post ideas, then that knowledge will ultimately trickle down into the content that we're creating for our customers. Now let's consider a few other examples of blog post topics that both our internal team and prospects could both jointly benefit. Here's a question. How can we standardize training for our writers? This would allow for consistent, streamlined blog content that all of our writers could refer to. And the title of this post could simply be, How to Write a Badass Blog Post. Here's another question. How can we standardize training for our editors? Maybe we create an editing and proofreading checklist that allows for less back and forth between the writer and editor. Total time saver. The post could be titled, The Ultimate Editing and Proofreading Checklist. Another question is, how to build the best writing team. The best way to build a team is to know how and who to recruit, and then how to manage and keep them. The post could be titled, How to Build an Amazing Outsourced Team of Content Writers, a step-by-step guide. All right, it's time to wrap this video up. Creating epic content requires coming up with epic blog post ideas that will have an immediate impact on your business and everyone around you. Okay, so just want to go back to pillar number 1. Remember when I mentioned not to get too caught up in SEO? Well, if your content is useful to your primary audiences, then the blog post will undoubtedly perform on their own. And although search engine rankings and website traffic are important for your business's success, they are long-term goals that cannot be achieved without meaningful content. Okay, so here are the 3 pillars again, just to recap. 1. Make sure you have all your foundational bases covered. 2. Create a framework for eliminating bad blog post ideas. And number 3, ask yourself questions that will assist you in the brainstorming process. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot. Are you ready for a bonus? Let's talk about Pillar D. The very last step after the other pillars is to present your ideas in a way that enables your team to immediately start creating epic content. Once you have your basic ideas down, it's crucial to deliver them in an effective way so your expectations can then be met. Well, that about does it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I believe that you're well on your way to creating epic blog posts. Stay tuned for more from our team. Thanks again.